morning. Thank you, Mary. Good morning, everyone. This is a bit daunting, seeing the people standing there. There's some seats here. Could we let them sit here rather than stand? Come along. That's the price you pay for being slightly later in the queue. You got to go to the first row, but I won't quiz you, don't worry. I'm the Chief Customer Officer at Tesco, and today I want to put to you the argument that loyalty is in fact dead. Let's see. How many of you have a loyalty card or app? How many of you have 2? 5? Let's see, airlines, financial services, banks, payments, retailers, grocery. All right, we're there. We're up there with airlines, more or less. We all have a number of loyalty schemes, loyalty apps, cards, fobs. But the real question is, do we use it enough? Do they make us change our minds about who we interact with, which brand we engage with, who we shop with? Do they actually help us feel better about those brands? Do they give us value the way we mean it? Do they, in fact, help those brands increase the loyalty of their shoppers and consumers? That's the real question, as opposed to how many you have. A lot of people put to me, and maybe there's some colleagues here from grocery retail, that some German retailer supermarkets have high loyalty without any app or scheme. So really, loyalty is dead, isn't it? Tesco Clubcard, I did click. Shall I click again? Nothing is happening. You're going to see this chart with me and that lovely lady for about 30 minutes. It's going quickly, going backwards. If you can see the first chart, while they find it, what you're going to see? I think you're going to see this one. Let's see. This is a history since the launch of Tesco Clubcard. It was launched in 1995. Now, how many people here were born in 1995? Yeah, that's what worries me. You're as old as a Clubcard. I'm much older than that. I had a child by then. Right, so Clubcard is 28 years old. It was the first grocery retail scheme launched. It was a genius idea for those genius people that worked at Tesco at the time, helped by a couple called Dunn and Humby. You might have heard about them. Today, we're very proud to be the wholly owner of Dunn Humby, the data science and shopper marketing and loyalty consultancy company. So it was launched in 1995. In 2000, Tesco was the first grocer that launched grocery home shopping, the first shopping online. And of course, Clubcard was a great enabler of that. Now, Clubcard was launched, the Tesco Clubcard was launched with the idea that when we shop, we thank you for your shop. I will give you a point for every pound you spend. Simple scheme, it worked really, really well. And over the years, as you see, we brought some innovation. So we launched the first key fob. How many people have got a key fob? Still, damn. I'm going to change your mind by the end of this, but it was a brilliant innovation because so you don't lose it. It's not in your wallet, in your purse, in your pocket. We launched in 2006 the Christmas Saver Clubs. How many of you know about it? Yeah, not many people. If you save your points all year round, before Christmas, you can spend them all together for your Christmas shop, but we top up with some extra points for it, and we have a very considerable number of people. I can't tell you the numbers, but massive number of people, millions of people who do that. Double up points, great events. We would encourage people to earn more points so that they could redeem them for their shopping much better, much quicker. We launched the app in 2011. Now, I'm going to ask you again, how many of you have got the app? Yeah, it's just a little bit more than the fob. We've got work to do. I joined Tesco in 2017, just as we were recarding the card. So it changed the face, we'd added some functionality so you could tap it rather than scan it. It was much easier, better branding. We saw penetration, all of those years, penetration had kind of grown and then stalled. And then the first time we saw some penetration growth when we recarded, because basically we reminded a lot of people of their card, they didn't know whether they lost it, so that was quite good. but then everything stalled. We launched in 2019 Clubcard Plus, the first subscription-based service in grocery. I won't ask how many people have it here because I think it's very... Anyone has Clubcard Plus? You see, that's a percentage. It's a small number of very smart, savvy shoppers who will get up to 10% in shopping in store, up to £200 for every month. So they can save up to £40 in a month for £7.99 a month, plus lots of other benefits. And in 2020 was the 25th anniversary of Clubcard. So we found ourselves in the company saying, this is all very good, but we can't carry on saying thank you for your shopping. The times have moved on, lots of other services available, lots of retailers doing excellent work and having very high loyalty. We need to move on. And it was really a moment of stalling. We had to ask ourselves and the customers what was that they wanted, what was that wasn't working. Nothing was really, if you ask, people were quite happy with Tesco Clubcard, nothing wrong really. However, I think there were a number of elements. The journey was quite difficult. If you got your card, it was very tricky to find your password again and find your account. Many people, I have 7 accounts of Clubcard, and I work at Tesco. I don't even know how that's happening. But we had to merge them all. Lots of people doing that, moving, forgetting the address, losing the fob. And actually, is it really worth it for a point? And how long does it take me to get those damn points and then redeem them? And if I just shop at Tesco Express every day, it's about £2, £3 every time. Is it really worth it? So it was time to really change our mind. And what we discovered was we had it all with us. We actually had Tesco Clubcard is a super powerful tool, an enabler of engagement, of probably ultimately loyalty, but we had to completely change how we looked at it and look at it on the terms of our customers as opposed to on our terms, how we were used to it, how we set up all of our systems for 25 years. We really needed to make sure that we were giving customers value on their terms. And that included simplified journeys, better sign-in, safer passwords, digital as well as paper and plastic, and ideally less paper and less plastic for those who are a bit conscious about that. But also, most importantly, can I see the value? Is it really worth it for me? Can I see the value immediately at shelf edge? Which is why, after much internal debate, consideration, discussion, scenario planning, business cases, and worry, we decided to launch, as the first retailer in the world in grocery, what we call Clubcard Prices. Clubcard Prices is the idea, very simple, that if you're part of this very non-exclusive club, because Clubcard is open to everyone, it's actually really easy to get one, you'll get better pricing at Tesco than if you don't have one. And it was really a moment of debate internally because Tesco is a very open, welcoming, democratic brand. We don't want to be elitist, we don't want to exclude anyone, we don't want to make it difficult for anyone to shop at Tesco. So this idea of excluding people was really quite hard. But we decided that Clubcard was accessible. By then we had 14 million people. There's about 25 million in the country, 60 million people. So it was a good penetration. It was used about 60%, 40% of the time. So we tried it, and we launched it in 2020, 5 months into the pandemic. Those were our plans. We didn't delay it. We launched it on the 15th of September 2020, like this.
You're a wizard, Gillian. Get exclusive deals at Tesco with your Clubcard or app. The power to lower prices.
It was a bit bonkers, as my team says. You know, we had to be quite brave in both what we were doing and how we were launching. We had to break through, and, you know, flying people in a supermarket is what you see all the time. We had to work very hard with our partners, brands, to convince them to come on board. And I'm pleased to say that Cart Door and some of the frozen food from some of their friends in this room were happy to do that. And then we had to wait and see. We put an enormous amount of pressure on ourselves to make it easy for people to sign up. So QR codes in stores, colleagues briefed, We were showing everyone to sign up on the app because that would have been easier. And then we waited. And then we started to roll it out to every category, which was massive from a tech perspective because it's linked to our invoicing and financial things. So really complicated. But we started to see some traction. We decided to make the other thing really easy for customers just about 6 months later, which is when you turn your points into vouchers, normally you would have to wait the vouchers to come through the post or the statement to come through the post. 12 million statements to 12 million households, or 14 million as it started for those who applied, on paper. And I was saying earlier to a friend, when we print the statement, we used to print the statements every 3 months, the country would run out of paper, because it's an awful lot of paper. So if we wanted to rerun it because something got wrong, we couldn't. So it was a big machine. But people were saying, why do I have to wait 3 months to get 1.50 worth of points? Honestly. So we managed to do something quite revolutionary, which is actually you can do that in the app. Turn your points into a voucher, and you can spend it instantly. We also started to see that people were not happy with just getting pet food offers if they had no pets, and nappies if they had no babies, etc., or beers if they didn't drink. We needed to be slightly more relevant. And so last year, we started to send personalized rewards to 4 million customers. That means that every 2 weeks, they get something that they only care about based on their shopping behavior. Whether it's shopping in store or online, they get the voucher in the app. It's a scratch and reveal mechanic, so there's a bit of playing as well. And they can just redeem it in the app and go and spend it. And it's based on their shopping behavior, so it's things they like to buy or things we think they'd like to buy because people like them do. We also started to look at the partners, so you can redeem your points with shopping, face value, £2 off your shopping, if that's what you have. You can also use a multiply with the reward partners. We have over 400 partners in the scheme, and the most popular categories are dining out or days out with a family. This is how the households, normally our families use it with their children or their family. They go to amusement parks, museum, and things like that. The problem was we would always surface the most popular ones. So it would always be an airline, a chain, or a fast food chain, and things like that. But if people lived in other parts of the country, they wouldn't know necessarily in our communication what their partners were. So we started to geolocate and geotarget our emails so that they would surface the things that are relevant to you in Northern Ireland, in Scotland, in Wales, in different parts of the country. So both what's relevant to you and geo-targeted. We also started to see how people were redeeming those vouchers and therefore surfaced for them the type of experiences that were more relevant to them. So again, a way of curating the experience for them so that it would be much more relevant. But the biggest revolution had to be actually this year, where we managed to move from when I asked you if you had the app, I don't know how many of you have got the Clubcard app versus the Tesco app. Those who raised their hand, that's no longer viable. It's no longer, we sunsetted their app. We moved nearly everyone, there's about 3 people here who haven't moved. We moved nearly everyone else onto the Tesco app. So there's one app now. And why is that interesting? Because now you can do everything you want at a touch of a tap. So you can shop online, you can shop in store. You can have quick delivery, so 30 minutes delivered your shopping with Whoosh. You can go click and collect or book your slot if you shop online. You can shop in store and do a shopping list, check the stock in the store where you normally shop. You can pay in the app, use the vouchers, use the points, set your marketing preferences, do everything in the one app, which is why I'm hoping those who have a fob will move on to the Tesco app because it'll be much easier and you don't have to wait for paper anymore. We've actually reduced dramatically by 90% the amount of plastic cards that we issue, and we've had a lot of new customers, so it's all paperless and plasticless, which is quite important. But if you still prefer the plastic one, you can. If you don't want to use the app, it's absolutely fine. But most of the people are now digitized because that's where the engagement and the interest and the immediacy of the value is coming through. We also started to think about the fact that people don't really know the value that they get. So we started last year, we've done it again this year, what we call Value Unpacked. So that's your Clubcard history. I mean, Spotify started that, your playlist, and many others have followed. But that's what we do. We send customers an idea of how they spend their points, what they bought, what is the most frequent. I buy lemons every week. So it told me that I buy, I don't know, millions of lemons in a year. They tell you how many points you've saved, how you've used them, and give you an idea of the value that we've created for you, which is also a gamified experience for the customers to just be a bit more aware of what's happening with Clubcard. And last but not least, Tesco is also a mobile company, a bank. And what's really important is for us to recognize we have a lot of customers that are customers of the stores and the Tesco Mobile or the bank or all three sometimes. But we didn't have a way of recognizing that. And also they didn't have a way of seeing the value across the board. So particularly during the cost of living, we started a campaign with a number of multi-subject ideas around we want you to spend less with us. And the idea was that Clubcard will allow you to save money across your telephone bills, your packages on SIM and data, or your travel insurance, pet insurance, loans, etc., etc. And you can see some of the ideas. And I know that my colleague Rachel was here. Some of you might have heard her story on Monday, I think, about how Tesco Mobile turned into Supermarket Mobile, and really the convergence to the brand, because that's what brings the best value to customers. So we want customers to engage with Tesco through Clubcard and get the very best value that they would do by being part of the non-exclusive club. So we were 14 million customers when we started. We now have over 21 million. We're close to 22 million. Most of them, more than half of them, are digitized, whether it's web or app, mostly on the app, if we move them all away. And as I mentioned, much more frequent engagement, much more frequent rewards, as well as every day, because in the meantime, we've rolled out Clubcard prices to every single category in Tesco, including meal deal, late in the financial year, early this year, which was the last step, because then it made it really worth having an advantage of being part of Clubcard, even when you buy your meal deal. So it was something that was really conscious and a trickiest one to implement. So this is where we are now. In the last 3 years, we've done a lot of work to really transform the experience that customers have with Clubcard, to really look at the way they engage, they get value, and obviously by having more data, we can now adapt those journeys, those values, those rewards in a much, much more tailored way and make sure that if something doesn't work, we know instantly it doesn't take us months and months of research and questionnaires, but actually we see it in the moment. Now, all of that is great for our customers, and the proof is that we've moved from 14 million to 21 million. The penetration is much higher. Now Clubcard is used about 80% of the sales across the board versus 60 that we had before and 40 before. And it's really in more than half of all the basket transactions that we have. But there's another crucial benefit to that, which is when we work with our brand's partner, we can now offer the opportunity of really targeting their customers and their consumers in Tesco in a very precise way. And we can measure the sales immediately. So that's what we call, and that's why we relaunched the work that we do with dunnhumby, the Tesco Retail Media and Insight platform, powered by dunnhumby. And really it's the idea of giving power to the brand strategy and then having a one closed loop, the biggest grocery closed loop you can have, because you can measure absolutely what the sales impact is, not just what the claimed purchase behavior is. And let me give you an idea. So these are kind of the touch points that we can touch with the retail media that we have at Tesco. We can tell you how customers, well, obviously what they're buying. That's not particularly new. We can tell you the shopping frequency, what time of the day, what day of the week, and how often. We can tell you whether they're shopping in store or online, what type of store, the location, but also the format. And also, we can tell you why they're buying the brand. What mission is it? Is it just running home before doing dinner? Is it a big shop that I do every week or every month? And anything in between. Is it when I'm watching the match and I want some beers and crisps and whatever else and I have it through Whoosh? we really have an insight of what's driving that purchasing behavior. And so actually we can also tell you how they consume the media, our media, how they like to be engaged, what is the main tool, how they make decisions and what inspires them. And what we've seen is that when customers are exposed to more touch points in the customer journey, this is not new, you know this, but when they're exposed to relevant touch points in the customer journey, the return on advertising investments is really, really much bigger, as opposed to doing only one thing. And the beauty is that we can do it, yes, of course, we can do it with the online shoppers on site, but that's a smaller proportion of people. You know, the online shopping, whilst it's grown a lot in the market, is just over 13% of total sales. That means that between 85 and 87% of all the transactions are still in store in grocery. So whilst it's really important to be strong and advanced in online, it's not enough. But what we can do, because we have the connected store, we have our tills, we have Scan as you shop, we have digital screens, we know what people buy in stores, is to connect all of that and therefore analyze those behaviors from the in-store behavior as well. And then more interestingly, we create audiences that you can match offline. So we have partnerships with Sky, ITV, Meta, and many more that we are announcing every day. So that means that brands can target their audience with a recreated audience offline and then measure the actual sales in Tesco, which is quite representative of the nation, having 27% market share. Really robust numbers. So there's an opportunity at a time where we are all riding the storm of cost of living squeeze. It's not just for our consumers and customers, it's for us as brands. Our budgets are limited. We need to make sure that every penny we spend is returning. And this is a really excellent way of measuring that. So our ambition is to use the Tesco Clubcard to create loyalty through relevance, to make customers truly feel valued and known and not ignored and not a number, and to move from a loyalty scheme that says thank you for £1 spent to a platform of digital, personal, relevant engagement on their terms. Which is why, and this is a sneak preview because it's not going on air until next week, but I managed somehow to get approval for myself to share it with you. This is our new campaign that will air next week.
You all right? Have you got your club card?
Mm-hmm. Club card accepted.
Have you got any plans later? Receipt?
Feel the power to lower prices with Tesco Clubcard.
So really it's becoming a bit of a thing. We've actually got customers, I kid you not, I'm a little mind-blown when I hear that. We had a little lady we were interviewing and she just went, I've got the power. We're like, oh my God, this is becoming really a thing. So, we feel really excited. That moment at the till is what we call the thrill of the till. When you see the prices drop, you've done your shopping, you see, boom, the price goes down. It's very emotional, it's very important. That's what we're trying to dramatize. And the last bit I will share with you is, and again, this is a bit bizarre. So I was at Pride to support my colleagues on Saturday in London. As the float was going by, people were holding up the Tesco bag, but also the Clubcard. Honestly, I mean, it's a thing. I don't know. People are really, really excited, And the phrase that I hear more often is, there's actually money in it, because there is. And it was really a change of mindset from us to do it on our terms. Here's £1, here's a point. Yeah, that works, but it's not enough. We need to be really, really close to our customers, especially now where everybody's looking for a better way of shopping. Everybody can't be bothered. They have no time for us. Their life is more important. We need to make it really easy to engage with us, to feel valued on a personal level. Which is why...
Say thank you to Tesco for the points and cashback, because
I've got the power!
There's a lady, I didn't know we'd added this video, so that's brilliant. You know, people are actually doing it themselves, which is why I think loyalty is not dead. Long live loyalty. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alessandra. That was absolutely brilliant and some wonderful insights there. We have a few minutes, so I thought perhaps we'd like to open up to the floor if Alessandra's prepared to take some questions. Has anybody got some questions for Alessandra? Ooh. Come on, Melanie Mack, I know you have.
Yeah. Brave person there.
The money back is great and connecting it all together, but do you have a value for the data? Because you're buying the data, right? So how does that work out in your P&L to value the data itself?
It's immensely valuable because the data we have on 80% of our sales and well over half of every transaction means we can use that data ourselves to make sure that our ranges are relevant, that our ranges in every channel and format is relevant, that our promotions and prices are working, that we understand in the segmentation that we have, we're quite a sophisticated segmentation of people, how they work, so we mix socio-demographic, but also, you know, the age, where they work, where they live, how they consume. So everything that we offer to our brands, in many ways, we use ourselves first. So we use it to shape and inform our business strategy. We can actually measure the loyalty or the stickiness of our different cohorts. We can understand what media and channel works best. And now that we're able to personalize our CRM increasingly, not 100% yet, but increasingly, we can also see the return on the various promotions and brand communication that we do. So it's immensely valuable for us first, for our customers, and now with the brands that we interact with as well. Yeah.
Could you say your name before you said the question? Thank you.
Hi, I'm from India. My name is Karnveer Mundre, and I run a media company and a newspaper in India. I was wanting to know, did you see any change in purchasing patterns post-COVID, post the pandemic, where did you see any move towards healthier foods or any change in the pattern?
We've seen a lot of changes, and you mentioned we've had the pandemic, Brexit, the cost of living, the post-pandemic, all mixing together. So it's actually really hard to isolate what's driving what. And, you know, people are just reacting to what's happening in their lives and in the market. And of course, as you're aware, inflation is very, very high in this country, and especially on food is very high. So a lot of difference in partners. What I would say, the broad big change versus pre-pandemic is that, in general, customers are eating more meals prepared at home than eating out, in general. That's mostly to do with breakfast and lunch more than dinner. They are cooking now with fewer ingredients to try and save money and shorter time. They're not necessarily eating more healthily. That was true during the pandemic, after the initial drinking fest that went on, and everybody said, oh, I need to be a little healthier. Nowadays, when budget is tight, we tend to see people who are resorting to the things they know, to comfort food, to things that are more trusted. But as I say, it's changing all the time, and we just need to be on top of it rather than be worried about what it means for the future. We try, but mostly, because of the data that we have and all the additional insight that we get, we try and just be on top of it every week, every month, on a constant basis.
And I think we've got time for one last question.
One more?
Please, thank you. At the back there.
Or here. Sorry, there's a
lady just there. We'll try and fit you.
But we'll try and fit two. I'll be very quick in the answer if I can. I don't know.
Okay,
5
fine,
minutes.
great.
Okay.
Oh, is it on?
I thought 22 seconds. I was
Right.
panicking.
Okay.
5 minutes.
Okay, so I just wondered, when you were doing the scoping for this, the business case and how you managed to convince people that actually putting the prices just down on Clubcard was going to be better than just putting the prices down across the store, and just how you did the business case for this to prove that doing it via a loyalty program is going to be better than, you know, another route, and we're going to prove that to you.
So we didn't. We tried to make lots and lots of scenarios and business cases, but it ultimately is a judgment. Strategy is always a judgment, isn't it? And we have enormous data around shopping behavior, so we know how people reacted when there was something to do with Clubcard. But it was an assumption that, at the very least, the promotion would be as effective as before without the Clubcard. What we did do, however, we worked really hard with our commercial colleagues who are amazing in what they had to do. It was all manual at the beginning, now it's automated. But we made sure that the Clubcard prices, especially as we launched them in every category, were really meaningful. They weren't like, 2p's off or 30p's off, but a really what we call stunt prices, so that people would notice. Because the biggest danger in rolling out one category at a time, which is what we had to do technically, is that people just wouldn't notice, that it would be kind of lost in a big, in a big supermarket. So we made sure that we had some really big offers, and we communicated them very strongly and used those to attract people and then measure. But it was a strategic decision that we took in the end, because there's no business case. In all things loyalty, you get into a tunnel where you have a lot of data, you can prove everything, but in the end, it's a strategic management choice, and you either believe and you try, and the beauty at Tesco is Tesco's always been on the innovation side. We've always tried things first, and we know if they don't work as well as we wanted to, we'll adjust and we'll learn, and that's what we're doing. We'll adjust and learn all the time.
Thank you so much. I think we've got a question
One
here.
lady here, hi.
Is my mic not? Thanks for taking the question. Yeah, the last few months, I guess, have seen some of your grocery rivals kind of launch similar, personalised offers, exclusive discounts at shelf point. I guess, do you remain confident that Clubcard and Clubcard prices remains like a meaningful point of difference for consumers?
What I'm really confident about is that the scale, the reach, and the breadth of our customer base is unrivaled, and we continue to grow it. And we continue to develop new ways of engaging. Because we have a lot of data, we know what people like, value, what they feel rewarded, what it means to them. So I think, the uniqueness is not one mechanic versus another. Loyalty schemes, as we said, have been around for many years. Everybody's got a card, and now everybody's copying and launching member pricing. That's fine. But I think it's how you use the data, how you engage with your customers, what you're thinking ahead. The mechanic may be the same, but what you deliver, the value you deliver, and how you do it can be very unique.
Thank you so much, Alessandra. Can we please put our hands together and thank you.